Welcome to WWW
Hello people, this is me, WWW, and welcome back to this new video. This is, well, a new series that I'm gonna try to start on my channel, and we'll see how it turns out. I asked some of you, or I asked all of you, on my previous video if you thought this could be a good idea, and the positive comments I got in the comment section were, well, there were a lot of positive comments there, so I decided to try to make this into an actual thing on my channel. So basically how it is that I'm going to talk about my dreams, but not in goals or life goals or stuff like that. Instead, I'm talking about dreams you have at night. Nightmares, for example. And that's what I'm gonna try to do for this channel now, a new series, and just see how you guys like it and if you think it fits on my channel. Because, as I said, you were very positive on that in the comment section of my previous video, and also the fact that, well, I haven't seen any other YouTubers do it. Or maybe I'm just bad at searching up things, I don't know, but at least I haven't seen it anywhere. So this could be interesting. So I remember nightmares the most, unfortunately. Nightmares is, well, they're scary, but extremely fascinating, I think, afterwards. And therefore, well, I'm gonna try to explain how one of my nightmares turned out to be. And this time we are going to talk about a nightmare that I like to call the clone nightmare. This is a nightmare that I had about, well, a few months back. And I remember it actually very, very clearly. So, let's begin. I was standing in a room, this little square-formed room, and the room was completely orange. The floor, the ceiling and the walls were all pure orange, and they had the exact same orange texture all around. And the funny thing is, the texture was actually exactly identical to how the orange wool block looks like in Minecraft. So therefore it was a little bit easier to demonstrate how this nightmare looked, as I can now remake this room in Minecraft. As you can see here, this is about how the room looked. A bit different in the lighting and stuff, but you get the idea. And I was standing here in the middle, and right in front of me was a stand. A stand, you know, if you look at cartoons, for example, you may see some characters standing at the side of the road, selling, for example, lemonade or something in a stand. That kind of stand was right in front of me, and behind that stand were 3 clowns. And these clowns looked identical to Mr. Mime from Pokemon. Mr. Mime is a psychic Pokemon from, well, the Pokemon series, and it looks like this. And there were 3 of them that looked, well, exactly similar to each other, and they were standing behind the desk, they were smiling, and they had their hands like above their head, and they were dancing and singing. And the dance they performed was like a very bad animation of 2 frames. Like 1 second they were like tilting to the left and then suddenly tilting to the right. So it was like a bad animation of 2 frames only, for example. And they were smiling, dancing as I said, and singing. And I can't remember exactly, or I can't remember what they sang at all. All I know was that they sang a riddle, a very creepy riddle with these light voices of theirs, like these light clone voices, sounding like children nearly, singing. And they were singing this riddle, and it was like 4 lines or something that rhymed with each other. And this riddle was something that I had to solve, and it was super creepy because I didn't know, I didn't know what was happening if I answered wrong. What would happen if I answered wrong? What would happen if I even answered right? Would I get out of this room? Would I take me to some creepy ass place? What would really happen? And then after they finished singing, which as I said was about 4 lines or something, they stopped. They stopped singing, they stopped dancing, they were just standing there like they were frozen in time. And, well, they were waiting for me to answer. And I was just standing there, I didn't know what to say, But I knew that, like, I had to answer something, I had to answer correctly, or if not, something terrible was going to happen. And then I was standing there for a while, didn't say anything, because I couldn't come up with any answer. And then they started singing and dancing again, singing the same riddle. And it was really creepy, because I knew that they would just keep dancing and singing all just until I answered something. And then after they finished singing the second time, I was suddenly in third person. I was standing in third person looking at myself. And you might find this hilarious, but I was actually identical to Officer Jenny from the Pokemon anime. Yeah, maybe I watched Pokemon or something the night before, since there's so much Pokemon representation in this Nightmare. I don't know, can't remember for sure, but I looked identical to Officer Jenny, and I looked at myself from the side. And then suddenly, after they started, after they finished singing a second time, and I looked at myself as Officer Jenny, she said, or technically I said, "It's obvious." That's what I said. I said, "It's obvious," and then like a little creepy sound effect appeared, like this, like something suddenly happened, you know? In the silence, then this sound effect suddenly happened, and Officer Jenny, or me, suddenly said, "It's obvious." And that was really creepy and surprising. And then Officer Jenny, or again, me, just walked over to this stand and opened it up some way and walked behind the stand where the clones were standing. And then Officer Jenny said this, you know, she was surprised, you know, she said just, and then suddenly I was standing behind her, and like the camera, I was like a camera in a movie now, was like, was filming behind Officer Jenny, or me. It was zooming out, and then a very weird and creepy sound effect appeared, like dun 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 dun, like something very mysteriously happened, and the clowns were gone, and I woke up. That's it, that's the nightmare. So you might ask, how is this creepy? Let me say again, at the end of the nightmare, this Officer Jenny, or me, opened the stand, walked behind there, and she was suddenly surprised for some reason, and the camera like zoomed out, a very creepy sound effect appeared, and the clones were gone. And when that happened, I got really shocked where I was standing, right? I was really shocked because I didn't know, oh my god, what is going on, you know? I didn't know what was going on. Why were the clones gone? What was so obvious? Why did she walk behind the stand? What was going to happen now? Was something terrible going to happen right now? It was also surreal and weird, you know, because I was alone in this very small square-formed room that was so empty. It was just me and the clowns. That was everything, and everything was so silent, you know. It was so silent except for the clowns singing. And when suddenly just Jenny, or Officer Jenny here, walked behind the stand, she gasped, the clones were gone, and the sound effect appeared. It was just so, well, so extremely weird, so extremely scary, like you know something's going to happen now. It wasn't like any jump scare, any scary faces. It was all just so weird, and I knew that I was in some kind of nightmare, so I knew something's going to happen. But luckily, I woke up, and I can tell you, when I woke up then, it was about, I think, 3 AM or something in the night. I didn't go back to sleep that night. I actually stayed up because I was afraid of going back to sleep and waking up in the same nightmare. That's true, I was afraid of getting the same nightmare again. So I was just standing up, or, you know, standing awake the rest of the night. Or I think I fell asleep or something at 5 AM. And luckily I didn't dream it again. But anyways, that is how the nightmare sounds. And you might think that this is hilarious. If I was told this nightmare without having it myself, I would also think it's hilarious. But the fact that I have experienced this nightmare, and you know that as well, when you think back to nightmares you already had, you might look at them and think that they are not that scary. But when you think back to when you actually were in the dream, that's something completely different. And that, guys, was what I like to call the clone nightmare. I think this is actually the newest nightmare I've had. I can't remember any nightmare I've had after that. Or I'm sure I've had some, but I can't remember any one of them. It's weird with dreams, because some dreams you kind of remember. Some dreams you remember very clearly when you wake up, but then you suddenly forget them just 5 minutes later. And some dreams you just remember just as clear as if they actually happened. It's pretty weird, and I think it's very fascinating. And this has been a clone nightmare, guys, and I also have some more nightmares that I'm going to share with you in my next videos, if you so want to watch them. Do you think this was fascinating? Do you think this was interesting to think about or to listen to? And also, I wanted to give a few shoutouts to some channels, because in my previous video I did some shoutouts to some channels, and I'm also going to do this time. So I want to give some shoutouts to Mua, Lewis Gaming, Fusion Gamer, and Yomomosh. All of these will be in the description, so you can go and check them out. They are very cool channels, and you should definitely check them out. And I also want to thank Games and Wario and the Stringini Bros, because they have actually made me a new outro. An outro is really something I haven't had on my channel before, but now they've made a really cool outro for me, and I want to really give them a huge thank you. Games and Wario, the Marlon, he's the name, is one who's running that channel. He says he's soon at 4,000 subscribers, and he would really like help to reach that number. So you should definitely go check out his channel. Anyways, you will see that outro now in a few seconds. Thank you for watching. Drop a like if you enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.
I'm a Wario. I'm gonna win.